Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Final Fantasy trading card game stream. My name is Sarah. I'm happy to be here. I'm joined by Angelo.
Hi there.
And I'm also joined by Mike.
Hello.
And we're very excited to be here with you guys today. So let's just jump right into it. We're going to share some news, kind of catch you guys up on what we've been announcing in regards to our upcoming competitive season, our newest set, our upcoming set, and some additional information for you guys. All right, so we will be doing some unboxing later on in the stream, but for right now, we're gonna discuss some of our exciting upcoming competitive season information for you guys. So very exciting to hear that. Excited to share that, sorry. Words are hard. But yeah, so you guys can see on screen, we've announced all of our Materia Cups for this 2024 competitive season. So that's gonna be kicking off in April. We do have a last chance qualifier in September as well, with all leading into our North American Championship in September. And if you aren't able to attend our Materia Cups, don't worry, we do have a ton of local qualifiers that will be coming out. We're just finalizing the details on that schedule and hoping to have that out for you guys soon. Are you guys excited?
I mean, I can't compete.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm definitely going to leave this one to Mike.
Oh, yeah. I mean, last season was kind of like the first season back off of COVID, right? So there was a lot of getting the season back up and running, and everything was great. Nats was great. Worlds was awesome to watch. But then seeing this year's calendar come out with extra Materia Cup / last chance qualifier, like double the local qualifier count compared to last year. The additional prizing and spots for Nats / Worlds, I mean, couldn't be more excited. I can't make that first Materia Cup at Collector's Cash, but I will be commentating that one. So I'm very excited. Very excited.
So we'll get to hear your voice again. Yay. Good, good. And then if you guys want, you can scan the QR code that's on screen, and that'll take you to the full page with all of that fun details. And like Mike mentioned, we did just announce all of the fun prizing. So head on over to our blog to check out all the prizing, where we've got 12 seats for Worlds this year, which is amazing. We've got some really fun promo cards, sleeves, playmats, trophies. Lots of fun stuff if you're going to compete
Now,
this
Sarah,
season.
how many seats did we have for Worlds last year?
4. So we've increased an additional 8 seats this year.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Big bump.
It's a very big bump.
Very nice geographical spread for North America, too.
Yeah.
It looks like all the stores are pretty spread out.
Yeah, so we've got our Materia Cup in Canada. We've got some East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, too. So definitely trying to spread it out, give a lot of love to all of North America as best as possible.
Yeah, I know that was...
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
That was something that I think was a pretty common point of
Yeah.
feedback for the team, right?
Yeah.
That they wanted more qualifier chances.
Yes, yes.
We in the field might have been a little vocal about that one for you guys.
But we are listening. As you can see from the schedule here, we are listening. We did increase by 2 more Materia Cups this year, and we tripled our local qualifiers, added in that last chance qualifier as well. So we are listening. We do the best we can. But yeah, I'm glad you guys are excited. I'm really excited to see where the competitive season
It should be a fun one. I always like watching. Again, I can't compete. Obviously, I'm an employee of Square Enix, so I'm not allowed to compete. But I do get a lot of deck tech ideas and like things to to mess with based on a lot of the decks that I see in competitive play. So.
Just put on the fake mustache and the fake eyebrows and everything.
Yeah, get the Groucho Marx
It'll
disguise and.
I'm really happy about the last chance qualifier. I remember 2 competitive seasons ago, or well, it was prior to COVID, I guess, when it was the Crystal Cups, right?
Yes.
And the Dark Cup served as kind of a last chance qualifier the day before Nats, right? And that was such a fun weekend that this last season didn't get to see.
Yeah.
And now we have it back. We went out to that. We had a blast at the event. Didn't get the last minute ticket into Nats, so day 1 we ended up going to Disneyland and hanging out around LA, and then coming back for day 2 to do all the side events, which are reestablished too. So that was a tremendous weekend. I'm so happy to see that last chance back on the calendar.
Yeah,
it
I'm
should
glad.
be exciting.
I'm excited to help organize and run it all, so I'm glad to hear that everyone's excited for it too. So when you see me running around crazy, just say nice things to me. We do have local qualifiers. We just haven't finalized and announced the schedule, but we have 60 local qualifiers coming. So those are going to kind of definitely fill in the gaps geographically that you don't see by the Materia Cups here. But we do have 60 local qualifiers coming.
Very busy
Yeah,
season.
very busy season. All right, let's head on over to our next slide, and we'll talk about Hidden Hope. So that's the newest set that pre-released last weekend, is officially releasing this weekend. And we are going to be opening some of that later on in the stream here. So hopefully we have some streamer luck. I'm hoping, we get that signature Sephiroth card. But yeah, we'll dive a lot deeper into this and like what cards you guys are excited about, more into like the limit break mechanic and all of that, because I know we're going to talk about this set basically like the entire
If you
stream.
open, Sarah, that Sephiroth card, chat is going to scream about the
Yes.
fix being in, right?
Yes.
Like, there's no way around that.
Yeah. I got Yuffie last time. We'll see if we can get Sephiroth this time.
Yeah, it's been a bit since last
Yeah.
unboxing stream. So,
It has. So
hopefully the luck has had some time to build back up, right?
Angela didn't touch the boxes, so hopefully we'll still be good. All right, we'll head on into our Hidden Trials information. So this is our next set that'll be releasing in August. So should release around the beginning of August or so. Don't have too much information we can share at this time on this one, but please look forward to it. This is going to be another fun set.
And have a look at some of this card art, because it looks like we have some very interesting characters coming.
Yeah.
We got a new Tyro.
Yeah.
We got Hippolydeus from 14.
Mm-hmm.
Kuja, one of my favorites.
I like that.
As a
one.
limit break
Yeah.
card. We'll be talking about limit
Miki
break.
Yamashita special lightning
my
art is
goodness.
Yeah.
fantastic.
I love the signature. So I really like that they started doing all the signatures, right?
Mhm.
But I really like that the signature is so unique on this one, where it has like the little kitty cat.
Yeah.
And it's not just like a standard signature. So I really like that detail on this one. All right. We'll head on into our last slide, which is just if you see what you like, you want to pick up maybe some older booster sets, pick up some starter sets, pick up a 2-player deck, or even our fun collection boxes, which are great for new players, whether you're looking to collect some older cards, having trouble finding those older booster sets. These are definitely a great start. I know Angela is very excited to talk about the anniversary set. There's definitely some good cards from the anniversary set that play really well with Hidden Hope. So we're definitely going to show off some of the anniversary set as we get in. But there's a QR code on the screen here. So if you want, take you right to our store. But if you're looking for, the newer sets that we don't have on our online store, please head to your local game stores. They will most definitely, or should most definitely, I should say, have this available for you to purchase. And you can always ask for it as well if they don't have it.
Please do ask around.
Yeah.
It'll definitely help to know that some people are interested outside of the usual spots. So.
that always helps, right? Like
Yeah.
knowing there's an interest in the product. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. Can speak from personal experience. I run around lobbying for any trading card game store that I go to.
Yeah.
It's always asking, hey, do you guys happen to have a
Do you
Final
have it?
Fantasy here?
Do you have it?
Do you?
Do
Would you
you?
be interested?
Could I interest you in some Final Fantasy trading cards?
just whips out a suitcase like old door-to-door salesman style, right?
Can I interest
Give the Final
you?
Fantasy TCG. They have a
Look.
TCG. Well, sir, let me talk to you.
If I'm in the area, I might as well, right?
Yeah, right. All right, should we move into some unboxing
Sure.
and talking
Yeah,
more
let's get
in
started.
depth into cards? All right, so I've got my lovely box here that Angela has not touched, and then we do have the anniversary. Do you want to talk a little bit on the anniversary cards first?
Sure. I mean, I think some of it's going to tie pretty well into
Okay, we'll wait then.
while you're pulling cards, because
Okay.
there is some feature stuff that I think we can kind of like make our segue into.
Okay.
But yeah, if you haven't already seen the anniversary collection 2024, this is a it's a pre-constructed set basically of a bunch of Final Fantasy trading card game staples from the last 2 or 3 years of play.
It is a pre-constructed deck with 50 cards, and it also has reprinted 200 cards
Yes.
with some commemorative PR cards. So there's 3 of those, and then it has a paper playmat as well. So yeah, it's definitely a good purchase if you're looking to get some of those older cards that are a little bit harder to find.
Yes, so it's a lot of reprints of uh, cards up to and including, I think, Opus 16. I'm not wrong. Mike, you might also.
Yeah,
Right.
so predominantly
Yes.
right, it's easy for companies to come on their own stream and be like, "Oh, it's a great product, buy it, buy it." There's multiple anniversary kits out there. Right now, if you are going to grab one because you're catching up, this is legitimately the one to grab from a competitive standpoint. It's got a ton
Yes.
of legends from the Opus 14 series, which kind of became hard to get through the COVID years. It's got reprints of some key summons in the game that are still in every competitive deck of those elements. This is the one to
Amaterasu.
get if you can only go buy one. This is the best of them. They all have great reprints, but if you're looking to jump into the competitive scene and you came a little late after a few sets, this is the one to get. It's
Yes,
not even close.
It's a perfect set to jumpstart a collection. Really great
Yep.
point to enter the game with. So
Yay, that's
definitely
good to hear.
something to look out for.
That's good to hear. All
Hidden
right.
Hope.
Hidden Hope. All right, let's crack it open. So one of the cool things about when you buy a full booster set like what we have is you do get the buy a box promo. I'm not going to unseal it, but just so we can see what it looks like. Pretty shiny.
Our box topper this time is
Yeah.
Kurasame from Final Fantasy Type 0.
Yes. So I'm just going to start cracking into packs while you guys,
I might as well get into this a little bit, but
Yeah.
today actually is the 9th anniversary of the release of Final Fantasy Type 0 HD.
Oh, okay.
So just a fun little coincidence, but yeah, Kurasame is part of that game, and I believe the art that they use is from a prequel series or a prequel project.
It's from Final Fantasy Type 0 side story, The Reaper of the Icy Blade.
Yes, and that is Kurasame's origin story.
There you go. Okay. We're just going to dive right in.
So
I'm just going to start putting
see what we
cards to
got.
the
Yeah.
side.
And
Sorry,
in
I'm
the
staring at
bottom.
cards here.
Anima. Oh, you might want to set the anima aside.
Okay.
Just for a sec.
Here you go.
Because I think that's one that we can talk about a little bit.
Yes. I know that was one that we preemptively planned for. Sorry if my hands are everywhere. I got to get back into like...
Some of our commons. We got some Final Fantasy 11 jobs. Lilithette, another 11 card.
Ugh.
Oh, we got a little spoiler on
Got
the
a
foil.
Lilithette was a little bit of a beast in pre-release, right? Like I wasn't even running Wind, and I just chucked them in there for the X burst value.
Ooh, I got the Lulu.
Oh, very nice.
Okay.
What's the where's this art from?
The Lulu? It is...
It looks like it's just
it's an original art.
Original art for
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's original art on that one. It's fantastic. The foil version of it is gorgeous, and then obviously the full art version is tremendous.
Yes. We
and
got
then
this.
our foil this time was Jack.
Yes.
This is Dissidia Jack.
It is, yes, Dissidia.
Yeah, that's
So-
DFF.
Was that a card that you ended up playing with, Mike?
No, so in pre-release was like very unique this time around, right? Because we had the limit break mechanic,
Yeah.
which has not been used in any sets prior to this. Is totally new to Hidden Hope. So there was that whole factor to take in when you're building pre-release. So I did not go fire at all. I ended up going lightning, earth, ice, and then threw in some wind and water cards that just said, X burst. Just threw those in there for a little bit of value.
The pre-release standard, right?
Yeah,
If it says X burst on it, go for it.
Yep.
Oh,
It's a good card. It
Is that
goes
our
in
first
there.
limit break card?
Yes, this is our first limit
Excellent.
break
So let's set
card.
that aside and we'll talk about that in just a second.
Yeah, so we did get our first limit break card.
Yeah, let it come in.
Is that little Leela?
That
Yes,
is
it
little Leela.
is.
From War of the Visions, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. And I guess that's a pretty good time to transition into our limit break talk, right?
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm just
So,
going to keep opening packs.
This is our new mechanic.
You guys talk away.
Starting with Hidden Hope, there are going to be some cards marked with the LB marker, and you can see it. I'll hand it over to Sarah. Up in the upper right corner of the card, you see the LB marker with a nice little sort of like fancy border going on there.
What's the focus?
These are our limit break cards.
Come on, autofocus, do your job.
You got it.
Come on,
You can
Otto.
do
There
this.
we go.
So, Limit Break
There
is a
it is.
brand new
Oh.
mechanic introduced to the Final Fantasy trading card game. It is marked by that sort of side border, and it has a little number on it. I think we can pull up I think we have one of the limit break cards, either Montleonis or Shandodo.
Yes, we have both.
We have something that we can pull up. So you can see there, the limit break card has a number value next to the limit break mechanic, and then it's pretty standard fare as far as your card description goes. Now, the limit break is a separate deck, aside from the standard 50-card Final Fantasy trading card game deck. And that separate deck is accessible at any time during the game. And the costs that you use to play your limit break cards are other limit break cards. So in essence, the way it works in practice is you have a separate 10-card deck. Whenever you want to cast a limit break card, 8 cards.
8 card.
8 cards. Now, whenever you want to cast your limit break card, you can cast it at any time that you would normally be able to cast it. So this is forwards you can only cast during your main phase. Summons you can cast whenever. After paying the cost to cast the card, you also will flip a certain number of limit break cards equal to the value that's on that card. So if I'm not explaining this, Mike, by the way, if I'm not explaining this right, please step in. It's totally okay. But
you're on point so far.
Okay.
You're good.
So you flip over a certain number based on the number that's on the card, and those cards are no longer usable for the rest of the game. That limit break card needs to be off to the side.
We got. If it wants, there we
No,
go.
I think they're talking about the camera setting. Like if we're gonna put
I
the
see. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And that's about it. These cards are generally actually quite powerful. It looks like there's some very strong abilities. Mont here, for example, he can.
Mont is gross.
Mont can revive a fire forward.
Yeah.
Or he can revive up to 2, right?
2.
Yeah, there's a fire forward of cost 3 or less, and then a fire forward of cost 5 or less in your break zone. And if you control fire backups, you put both of those back onto the field, and they gain haste. So he's a fantastic addition to a solo fire deck, mono fire deck, and that can be a pretty wild game-ending effect.
Yes. Yeah. So Limit Break in pre-release was I was only able to attend one because I had rehearsals for another thing, but Limit Break was the only reason that I think I was able to go 4-0 in the pre-release that I did go to. My deck was hot garbage. I did not have great pools in my packs. It was just consistent enough to like get the colors online. That was really the most consistent thing of the deck. But Limit Break became kind of the defining win con for me. I managed to pull Cloud, to pull Yuri, and to pull the ice one. What's her name from BE? Sergey's. And the math worked, right? Because there's 8 cards in my Limit Break deck. Cloud and Yuri are taking 2 each out of my Limit Break deck when I cast them, and Sergey's is taking 1. So to play those 3 cards, I was giving up the other 5 cards in my Limit Break deck. But every single game, that consistency allowed me to play those the entire in every single game. So it was huge. Somebody in chat, by the way, is asking about FFBE. The ones you specifically asked for, Rain, Laswell, Fina, they're not in this particular set. But yes, FFBE is all over the card game, including multiple versions of all those characters you asked for. So yes.
I believe there are a handful of FFBE characters in the anniversary set 2024 as well.
I want to say yes.
I know Physalis for sure is included.
Yes, that's a reprint in there, yeah.
Yeah, there's a few other cards, I think, of some key characters. And obviously, like, Mont seems like a pretty big feature card here. We're seeing a lot of Final Fantasy VIII cards.
I know, there's a lot of 8 in here.
Kistis, I saw Fujin.
I know this was on your list to talk about.
Wait, Garuda's not FF8. But,
we're different. Put her down.
But I believe that was a card that Mike highlighted, right? This was one of yours.
Yeah, just
So yeah, the
Ooh.
entire FF8 package. Yeah, Garuda I think is a little nutty, and so I did put this as one of the ones I
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah.
highlight, even though it's not related to the 8 package. Put some respect on FF8. Yes, you are right. You are right. FF8 has been a funny deck in FFTCG so far. It's always like on the cusp of being able to do something really neat in a competitive sense, but then not quite there, like missing a little piece or this little thing. And
Yeah.
it got a lot of love in Hidden Hope, and some of it is scary even outside of the context of a more FF8 centric deck. That Raijin and Fujin in this set that we're gonna
Yeah.
show and talk about a little later, like those have nutty implications in decks that have nothing to do with Final Fantasy VIII besides having those two
Yes,
cards in there.
absolutely. I think the Safer actually is a pretty good pick for that as well, right?
Yeah.
And just like as a
Yep.
key to drive everything home, like putting everything together. So
I got Shantoto.
now we're talking.
Now we're talking. Now we're cooking.
So this is one of
Look
the
at you,
this is one of the
Limit
feature
Break
cards that we
fans. You
talked
now
about.
have a board clear on demand.
Yeah. So anyone who's familiar with Shantoto in the context of the oh my goodness, what a pack! You got
What a
that and
pack.
Selfie.
I did.
We're gonna talk about Selfie a little bit later too. But since we have the Shantoto on deck already, anyone who's familiar with Shantoto and how she behaves in a Final Fantasy trading card game already kind of knows that one of the most notorious Shantoto cards is a massive game-ending board wipe.
Yep.
Now you have that on demand with the Shantoto card. She does have Limit Break 7, so she will cost you every other
Yep.
card in your Limit Break deck to play. However, if you have 5 Earth CP to play her along with her cost of 4, she just wipes the entire board other than herself, which is a huge play.
That's
if
crazy.
you're behind,
Yeah.
if you're playing any sort of control type deck, having access to that automatically is kind of a game changer. Yeah, that's something you get to look forward to as an Earth player, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean it is a lot of Earth, right? So
Yeah.
you need the 1 Earth for the 4, for the actual playing of the card, and then you do need 5 dedicated Earth CP behind it. So it's doesn't have the versatility of the backup, nor should it, being in the Limit Break deck and being on demand. You really have to be either holding a early game against an aggressive deck. You better be holding a lot of Earth in your hand to make this playable, or have plenty of Earth CP. So you do have
Yeah.
to skew very specifically where the backup Shantoto that we've all known, loved, and used has a little more versatility than this one.
Yeah.
But it is on demand. You don't have to draw this and get lucky in your draw to wiggle your way out of a difficult situation, provided you have skewed your deck to the Earth element enough.
Yes. And that's one of those things that the Limit Break mechanic affords, is just a greater degree of consistency, I think, just across the board. Being able to have access to this stuff on demand. Like you said, if I'm waiting for, a single card and I'm drawing 2 cards a turn just based off, oh, well, there's the foil that we were looking for,
There's
right?
the Lulu.
Um,
and I
Yeah,
got
now you just need the full art.
And I got Squall. Man, I've been doing good. Yeah, no, we do need the full
yes,
art.
it's looking good so far.
Real quick, to interrupt you guys, so somebody in chat was asking, what do the crystal cards do? What is the mechanic to the crystal cards?
So there are some cards, I believe we might have a couple over here somewhere. Like Garuda.
There you go.
Garuda. So there are some cards that generate this crystal resource, and there are other cards that spend the crystal resource in order to do stuff. Garuda is a good example here. By paying 2 of those crystals, you can choose a forward, I believe, and just hit it for 8,000 damage. Yeah, that sounds right. So there are some cards that will generate that resource for you, and then there's other that are sort of like your payoff cards.
Thanks. You guys can continue now. I know somebody in chat did answer it, but I figured, let's show it off.
Yeah, so we were
Yeah, if
talking
you have
about
questions, throw them in there. We'll get to them. We'll get to them.
Yeah, I know someone asked about my shirt earlier as well. I believe this was only given out to
Employees. It
right?
was an
This is an
employee
employee
exclusive shirt.
Yeah.
As a thank you for all our hard work.
Point of pride for me. I really liked working on all the support stuff for 16. I'm sorry it's not available elsewhere. But yeah, we were talking about limit break and consistency, right? Obviously, yes, you do have to construct your deck a certain way, but having access to that sort of thing, especially being able to construct your deck such that you have situational answers to a lot of these questions or shortcomings that your deck might have. I think that's one of the biggest things that the limit break mechanic brings to the table is just being able to have some versatile answers to a lot of the questions on the other side of the table, so to speak.
Wawa is not better than Sheets.
Oh
Sorry,
no, I was
chat.
gonna say no. Wawa is better than Sheets.
Oh no, here we go.
Oh no.
I know
We were just
exactly
talking
who
about
that
an
is.
East Coast bias.
Oh, I do too.
That's going to be my compatriot, Gabe, who will be commentating the Kansas Crystal Cup with me. So it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
I agree with Gabe though. Wawa is better than Sheets.
There is that neat
Ooh.
aspect, but also kind of the divisive aspect
there's a
of
cover card.
of limit break, right?
Mhm.
There's you are playing a game, it's got 50 cards in the deck. If your opponent doesn't have the answer to the board state you've created, you win. Well, now with limit break, that may not necessarily be the case. And whether you view that as a pro or a con as a player, that's going to be entirely up to you after you play with these cards a little bit to get a feel for it too. Playing in pre-release, I will tell you that there were instances where I knew I had the board state and was likely to win, but had to sit there very, very nervous that something was just going to drop out of the limit break pile that was going to totally disrupt what I was trying to do. When you get into low hand situations in the game, those limit break cards are cards that are still playable.
They are
So if
crucial.
you're playing on a back foot and you're top decking into 2 cards, you don't just have 2 cards playable anymore. This changes the game entirely.
Yes.
Now, it's
Oh,
a
no.
little scary, right? It's
Yeah.
a little scary because you have to now take these extra cards into your brain there when you're trying to analyze the board state and the
Yes.
most safe maneuver for your plan going forward. So it's very interesting to mess with, very interesting to play with, and see where these cards go from here. What I'd like to see is that I don't want to see a limit break deck kind of force the meta into 1 or 2 stronger elements. So I'm looking for future sets to distribute the power evenly. This set seems so far, very early in pre-release, seems to do that well, but in a constructed format, that's going to be an entirely different game. And I cannot wait to start
Absolutely.
playtesting that out.
Yeah, that's going to be a very interesting thing to see shake out as people start to understand, what are some of the more crucial limit break cards to include in a deck. You'll start to see, people preparing contingencies for those, or even just countering them outright. You'll get to see a lot of, people deducing, oh, well, this person's playing a lot of fire, or they're playing a lot of earth, so I have to be prepared for the inevitable Shantoto or Mont to close the game out.
And any backup that produces multiple elements now just became immensely more valuable.
Skyrocketed
right?
in value, right? Yeah.
Your Shantotos, your Tyros, your Moogles that produce 2 colors instead of just their base color. Like anything that can get you, I just need 1 CP of fire, even though I don't have any fire in this deck, but I want to run those limit break fire cards. Those just became more valuable too.
Yes.
Sarah, chat is saying you are going way too fast.
Oh, okay,
showing off this sweet art.
I will.
We
I'll
just
slow
want to
down.
see. We just
Sorry.
want to show how many.
Sorry, I'll go slower.
Sarah
I'll go
just
slower.
wants that
Let's take a little
froth.
break here.
Yeah, we'll take a break. I'm
Take a
sorry,
little
I was
break.
going
We're
too
gonna show off
fast.
Zach. This isn't exactly one of the cards that we. I don't think we prepared a slide for Zach, but he is the cover boy for Hidden Hope, so I figured we'd show off the card that
Yeah.
he's featured on. He is a limit break card, and his limit break is, I'd say, pretty low impact, all things considered. It is a limit break 1 card, but it is a 7,000 power forward that can, just hit the table and smack something for 3,000 damage when it enters. So, just a cute little diversion from Sarah opening packs at the speed of light.
Sorry, I was going too fast. But I did see somebody was saying that the Cloud of Darkness. Cute. I love the cute cards. So
The Pick Logica cards
Yeah.
are very cute. Yeah.
I'm always here for the World of Final Fantasy ones, the
Mhm.
Theater Rhythm ones.
Look at
So
that.
cute.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of whether or not we do have an Aardbert card. I know Tiffany Lockhart in chat is asking about Aardbert. I know we have a lot of 14 cards, but I don't think I've actually seen an Aardbert.
I don't know.
Fascinating. Well, we did see Hippolytaeus earlier, so maybe
Yeah.
we'll see Aardbert somewhere down the line, right? So we did get a lot of love for FF8 in this set, like Mike was saying earlier. And something that I like to do a lot is I like to build just a ton of themed decks based on either my favorite game or just like a core concept. And FF8 is getting a ton of love. We have a few cards that we can show off. I think the selfie that is in this game in this set is probably the best version of selfie that's been printed, other than the searcher, I would say. She also searches, but she's a forward, and she buffs Final Fantasy VIII forwards other than herself once a turn, which is huge. This is like I've wanted to make a Fire Ice Final Fantasy VIII deck for so long, and Selfie just broke the game wide open for that, I think.
Yeah.
And then we have like the new Squall, which I think there's a lot of fantastic Squall cards already, so it's a little bit tough to navigate some of the real estate for people that are not in the know that want to play the game. One of the ways that the game works is you can only have one of any particular named character out at a time unless it's otherwise stated. So you can build a deck filled with your favorite Final Fantasy character, but you can only ever have one, for example, one Squall out on the field at the same time. So this creates some space where you have to decide which cards you would like to feature of any one particular character. Sometimes that means that some of the cards that you'll see for Cloud, for example, are going to be much better than other Clouds. But other times it just depends on what you want in your deck. So Squall kind of fits in this weird real estate where there's a lot of really good Squall cards, so you have your choice of the litter. But the art is fantastic. So if you're just a collector, you will also get a lot of mileage out of this one.
I feel like we've been really good. Oh, sorry.
The Cat 8 package in pre-release was kind of a nightmare when people pulled the right setup. I unfortunately couldn't go that route. My packs were not conducive to that. But using Cypher and Fujin and Raijin and getting even a Dia, right? Popping cards from your deck into your break zone. And if they happen to be like Raijin and Fujin, immediately getting those onto play. And then they all buffed each other. And then they gave everybody haste. And then they also gave everybody first strike. It was incredibly dangerous board states very, very quickly. Like the limitation of having 10 cards in your break zone. Yeah, you play those 3 cards. You already have 10. You are fine. Don't worry about it. You are all set and they are powered up. It was terrifying in pre-releases.
I really like this. I really like this small package of Lightning FF8 cards dealing with the break zone. I believe Irvine from set 21. Is that right?
So yeah, he removes 2 from opponent's break zone gets some benefits if they're matching types and if they're characters and things like that on attack and on entry.
Yeah. I really like the idea of
he's right in searchable range and consistency range with the rest of the Cat 8 package too.
Yep, he's Lightning, so he's right there. There is an ice card actually in the 2024 set that I can go ahead and take this real quick that I can show off. It is another Category 8 card, one of my personal favorite characters. Oh, we're so close!
So
close.
Right
we don't have the signature card just yet, but it is there.
We did get, this is our foil, which the detailing is like really subtle on the foiling, which I do like.
I'm about to show off another fantastic fantastic foil card here.
Yeah,
So
so
on the note
close.
of Final Fantasy VIII support, we have this card from the 2024 anniversary set. One of my personal favorite characters, Laguna, is an
You've
ice
been dying to
forward.
talk about that
I,
one.
I am so excited about this card because as soon as I saw the art for it, I was all in. But yeah, he fits right in the wheelhouse of Final Fantasy VIII. There were also a set of warp cards. Warp is another mechanic that sort of puts them out of play for a little bit before they enter. They have some late entry effects that are usually pretty strong. There were a few warp cards from Final Fantasy VIII. I believe, I want to say it was also set 21. I get all my sets mixed up because I'm just thinking in terms of which game they're from. But Heroes and Ward are also part of the Fire Ice squad. So I was super excited to see this Laguna print come up, and the 2024 anniversary set has this wonderful full art version of the card, just in case you're looking to play Final Fantasy VIII in some way. Okay, I got mine out. I got the Laguna spiel out. So
That was the one.
we can continue.
Like Sarah reached out like whatever last week. It was like, hey, if you have any cards you want to talk about, let me know what the cards are. You know, just to give you an example, here's one Angelo sent me and boom, Squall promo. I'm like,
Yeah.
I was
okay.
like, well, okay, look, we are talking about a set 21 or set 22 here, Hidden Hope, but also we should probably take a look at something in the promo set. So
Absolutely.
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah, FF8 got a lot of love this set. I believe Type 0 got quite a few cards in this set. There's usually a pretty good mix of representation across games in any particular set,
Pretty
but
foil.
some sets have more of any one particular game than others. So this time the focus was on 8, I believe 7, Type 0. There's a lot of Final Fantasy Brave Exvius cards from War of the Visions, like we saw earlier. So yeah, it's definitely something to look forward to whenever a new set comes out, because you know you never know when the set that or the game that you like is going to get featured more often.
Right. Your favorite game. Oh, it's this set. Okay, great. Fantastic.
Right? Yeah, time to go look for all those cards, right? Yeah, I'm a big fan of all of the new art for. A lot of this stuff is done or it is FFTCG original art. So the Squall, for example, was done by Gen Kobayashi. I believe actually Kobayashi-san did a lot of art for this set.
Yeah, a lot of
including
it.
that Sephiroth.
Yeah, that signature Sephiroth that we're hoping to get. Yeah, that was also
Yeah,
done by
fingers crossed. How
Kobayashi-san.
far into the box are we?
I feel like I'm like halfway through, maybe a little more than half.
Yeah, I guess we are going to have to speed it up, aren't we?
I'll go a little
Need a
faster for you.
13
We'll see.
featured set.
can-
Amadeus, there are multiple previous sets that 13 featured in, and
Yes.
Hidden Trials, the next set. 13 is a key game in that set as well.
Can we go back to the Hidden Trials slide for a second so we can show off that wonderful lightning art?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
I was gonna say, or we can finish this pack first, and then we can go back.
Sure, yeah, that sounds good. Actually, there's also a Final Fantasy 13 starter deck that is a fantastic pickup if you're looking to play the game. I think it's almost exclusively Final Fantasy 13 cards, and it's a very strong deck out of the box, actually. If I'm not mistaken, it got played, some variant of it got played at Nationals. Yeah, quite strong.
You are 100% correct.
It's a deck that you can take from starter deck to a high tier competitive deck with relatively few changes and not expensive changes at all. Tactics never. You're wrong, my friend. FFTA and FFTA2 are represented in multiple sets as well. Obviously fewer because there's smaller casts, but they are in the game.
Yeah, one of my favorite decks actually is a Knights deck that I put together that has Ramza and Delita in it. So
here's that art that Angela was talking about.
Let's take a look at the.
So we'll pause our opening, but yeah, this is that gorgeous lightning art that is coming out with the new set, Hidden Trials, sometime in August.
This is August 2nd. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's when. Yeah, that should be around. I think when pre-releases, if I remember correctly. Yeah, or that's release. If pre-release is a weekend before, I could be off by about a weekend. But yeah, I'm excited. The art's very pretty for this one.
And that is Miki Yamashita-san, right?
Yes.
Who has done I believe Miki Yamashita also worked on The World Ends With You. Um, another Square Enix game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she worked on all of the character designs for that game. So we are pulling from a lot of, I would say, well-known Square Enix artists and concept artists and things like that. I believe we have seen Kane at some point today.
Oh goodness! If we did, he's not in this pile. He's in that,
He's in that
pile
for sure. But there's also a fantastic Gilgamesh card that is done by Yukihiro Kajimoto, who worked on the character designs for the recent Star Ocean 2 remake, the Star Ocean Second Story R.
Okay.
Fantastic full art there.
Incredible art, yeah. There's also an Enkidu to go with it. So
because of course there is.
Yeah. And I think this was one that you highlighted, right, Mike?
I did. This, I absolutely love the art, and I'm a huge fan of Gilgamesh in general. But I very, very much like this ability. I wish it was costed just a little differently. I wish it was 1 Earth and 2 instead of 2 Earth and 1. I think it would get a little more oomph for it than that. But I absolutely love the type of repetitive effect where it's just clean breaks. And this is some monster hate, which the game has certainly needed over the last couple of sets to gain a little more monster hate. I think that payment makes it a little challenging to see it in a bunch of places, but I think it will see a little bit of play. But I love the art. Absolutely love the art.
Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of interesting Earth cards coming up with that Shantoto.
That Kane is awesome.
Yeah, that Kane is, I believe that's another Kajimoto-san art.
No. Here.
That is from Sara Shimokobe. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think they've been featured on our cards before.
I don't think so either.
There's some fantastic Kane art. Any FF4 lovers in the chat?
I apologize, Kane. I was unaware of your game. You should apologize. You should apologize.
Oh, speaking of Gilgamesh.
The full art foil. Look at it.
What an incredible
that's beautiful, pull. Sarah. Nice pull.
Okay, so now we're gonna have to pull up the Sephiroth card again so that she can open the next pack and have
right.
Sephiroth.
That's what we need, right?
Yeah.
That's what does it.
All right, here's one for luck, right?
You know, at least I got one card that we talked about in a foil version, you know, on the stream. So I'll give myself a streamer luck pat on the back.
If this pack has that Sephiroth in it, I'm going home. Like I'm logging off right now.
I'm gonna spin around in this chair.
There's no way this should work. It's just no.
I know.
Right,
now we
suspense.
have everybody like
I know.
silent.
Now it's like the suspense of like, ooh, did she do it?
The tension in this room is palpable right now.
You could cut it with a knife.
Don't spoil it.
No.
It was a good try.
It could not have been like the opposite end of the spectrum.
Right. Don't worry, we still have
2-drop ice bard. Here you go.
We still have some more packs to go. You know, Sephiroth could still come
you never
home.
know. I mean, I don't know who else has been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
But,
no spoilers.
Just showing up all over the place is not uncommon.
That is true.
We'll see what happens. So, yeah, there's a lot of. There actually are some good. There are some great Final Fantasy XI cards. I'm not sure I've played a deck full of FF11 cards myself, but there are a few cards that were sort of like. I think they were like. I would say like they pushed staples. There was a fun combo a while back with King Ranpair, and I believe it was Garland.
What are the chances?
Oh wow, double.
Yeah. Anything you could do to break that Ranpair, absolutely.
Yeah.
There was like Gilgamesh 11 too, right? In water way back when that had some synergies there too with the Cat 11. Here's the cool thing about Dathis about wondering if a deck based on a specific game could work. There's an entire format for that. It's not the primary competitive format. You see it at a lot of side events, and in your locals, you may just have a weekend or whatever where you're playing that format. But there is a supported title format where the rules are slightly different on deck composition. So you can look those up on the Final Fantasy TCG website. But the idea is constructing your deck around an entire specific game. So you can do things like make an FF11 deck and compete in a title format where the rules are just slightly differently so that more options are playable.
Hmm.
So check out title format if you're looking for that type of experience.
We got the Titus Limit Break. Come
That
on,
one's gonna be a
Garrett.
little hard to focus, I think.
Yeah,
That is a that's a Yoshitaka Amano-san art,
it
right?
is.
And it is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, that's another limit break card, and it's very busy. I think Titus already has a few decent cards. I don't believe it's in this
Just a few.
2024 set, but it was in the 2023 Dissidia Anniversary Collection. There was a reprint of a Titus card that I think sees a lot of play. The 3-drop in water. I feel like I haven't seen any cards outside of water for Titus. Maybe light element. Oh, there's lightning.
There's lightning.
Well, there's the light one that bursts.
Yes.
That
Yeah,
gets
that's the one.
off the field. Yeah.
Yeah, that limit break card is quite good though, so he definitely deserves a spot in the conversation. And I think that's something that a lot of these limit break cards are going to do. Again, because of the consistency of being able to call upon some of these cards whenever you need them, they're going to sort of fit a spot in your limit break deck that, otherwise might not have fit in your standard deck due to considerations around character name or even cost or element or any of that. So there's always a good argument to make for putting some of these new limit break cards in your limit break deck.
Yeah, there's a Fire Titus. Yes, you're right. There is a Fire Titus. There's also a Wind one now that I think about it too. That's the other thing with Limit Break, by the way, right? Like, there is no reason, while it is totally optional to run a Limit Break deck or a Limit Break 8 in your build, you don't have to build a full 8. You don't have to run it at all. But right now, at least in the current set, unless things change with cards that in the future might interact with a Limit Break deck, there's none that do it now. There is literally no reason not to run 8 cards in there. That doesn't necessarily mean that all 8 limit break cards are playable. You may just be putting some in your limit break deck for fodder. But from a competitive standpoint right now, it is just not optional. Run an 8-card limit break deck. In the future, you might want to consider things if there's interaction with that deck. But right now, your deck needs to be 50 and 8 limit break cards.
Okay.
Get it done. Find the ones you like. Find the ones that play, and then fill the rest of those limit break spots with the fodder to pay for the cards that you want to play, or use the limit break to shore up a weakness or two in your deck if you can do so with the cards that are there right now. So right now, it says optional in the rules, but you got to run one. You're at a total disadvantage if you don't.
I mean, realistically, you could run 2 limit break cards and the rest can be whatever. Like those are the only 2 limit break cards that I'll ever be playing. I'm only ever going to use the rest to flip them for costs. Like that's about as simple as it gets. You can even just have one silver bullet card.
Lantern, that's a good question. How does limit break work in limited, like sealed? Just toss in the LB deck if you draw them. Yes, you can, but in limited format, not in standard, but in limited format, you are allowed to fill that 8-card deck for limit break with non-limit break cards just to get you to 8. You can't play those non-limit break cards, but just so you have the full 8 resources. If you, at a pre-release, for example, only pull 3 limit breaks and you want to play all 3 of them, you could throw 5 meaningless cards you're not going to put in your deck into the limit break deck just to meet payment in a limited format.
Yeah. Now, while we're still on the topic, Sarah just pulled the Cloud limit break card, which says, again, Cloud
this guy's a beast. This guy's a monster.
And Cloud is already a pretty well-represented
Yeah.
FFTCG character. He's all over the place in the game. There are a lot of great cloud cards, and this is another one to add to the pile because he is like, this card is very, very strong. On entry, he breaks a forward cost 3 or less, just 4 and 2 limit break cards, and then he has upside with his special ability. Just yeah, that I'm just surprised. I'm always surprised when a new cloud card comes out and it somehow exceeds my expectations for the character. Because we have so many good clouds. And Squall is very much the same way. I think Squall has been played going all the way back to like Opus 1. And there's just constantly a need for these new versions of the characters that happen to do even more than their last one did.
Yeah, so I'm a lightning element baby. Like when monos were a thing, and last set monos did come back a little bit, particularly in lightning. And so I was very happy to see this cloud. This is tremendous. I looked at it and I was like, huh, that special is just a power crept version of Opus 2 Adia's special without the limitation and the extra point of damage, and the only difference in cost is I have to dull cloud. I am all
Yeah.
for it. I am all for this card.
Yeah, I think probably the biggest standout thing to me about the cloud card is Limit Break 2 is it seems like
It's
quite the
nuts.
low cost.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
There's the Mont. That guy's
There
gonna
he
be scary. I
is.
mean, mono fire decks, like, famously right now, Hunter Nance, love him. Second in the world. Congrats, Hunter. Mono
Fantastic
fire.
play.
Mono fire playing with Magisa deck and everything. Giving Hunter access to this card is just terrifying. It's just absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, we're gonna see a new Burning Light of a new end, right? Is that the name of the deck? I forget.
Terrifying.
I'm
I
curious.
read this and I was like, oh no.
I'm personally, as somebody who obviously, like Angelo, can't play competitively, I'm very curious to see how Limit Break is really going to change the competitive scene and the decks that we see. Because I do know at Worlds, everyone kind of played with a lot of the similar-esque decks. Maybe there was a little twist here or there on them. But I'm very curious to see how this is going to really change the game.
Yeah, it does stand to be quite the game changer already.
Excuse me. Yeah, that's the to be determined, right? In this set, nothing seems ridiculously overpowered or skewing things in one certain element or direction or build. There does seem to be a lot of flexibility for you to make some choices with the limit break decks. What we get out of hidden trials and future sets, that's really going to determine, I think, where the limit break mechanic comes in.
Yeah. I agree.
And how much it warps the competitive. It certainly
Yeah.
warps the competitive scene, but the next
Yeah.
couple of sets are really going to determine how much.
And just out the gates, I mean, you can see quite there's like a diverse set of. Oh, very nice Disney foil, by the way.
So cute.
There's a nice diverse.
Can I
set.
talk about that? Oh,
Yes.
That's
Yes, we're
Cisne.
gonna talk
I'm in
about Cisne, right?
love.
So I
am
pulled her
in
earlier, but I
love
didn't
with
pull a
that card.
foil.
Yeah, but the foil.
But we pulled the foil.
Okay, so we're gonna shelf the limit break competitive discussion.
Yeah. We'll come back. We'll bring it back.
This Cisne. She's
She's
the woman
so
of the
cute,
hour.
but she's so cute. She falls into the cute card category.
She looks fantastic. Mike, let's hear it.
If I bingo you correctly, I will kill you on turn 2 because of this card. I will
There you
kill
have,
you
folks.
on my second turn if I can bingo correctly with this card. If I can play this Cisne on my turn 1 and play Reno right behind it and give him haste to search Rude and play it, I will put you on 2 damage in that turn by swinging Reno, activating Cisne, swinging. And then in my second turn, provided you can't do anything about the board state, I'm going to take you from 2 to dead by doing 1 damage with Reno, 1 damage with Rude, and interspacing those 2 attacks with 3 Cisne attacks. That is so sick. I love her. I mean, it's granted it's Christmas land stuff, right? Like, I gotta draw right. I gotta have the resources right. You gotta have no interaction, and the new limit break deck makes that unlikely in the best of scenarios. But that is scary, and I love it. I'm here for it.
Yes, all of those things are correct, but she is also a fantastic cornerstone for this deck. because Turks is
Yes.
already a very strong deck. There's a lot of lightning ice synergy outside of just playing the Turks themselves. But the deck is great, and the card is such a fantastic finishing piece for, uh, quite honestly, a character that really needed it. There's been, I think, 2 other Cisnes in the game that
Yes.
are, I would say, like
Yep.
reasonably playable, and I don't think either of them quite fit that Turks theme quite like this one does. So he's a fantastic
Yeah.
addition. We're going to jump around a little bit because I wanted to tie this into a key card from the 2024
Okay,
anniversary
here, we'll
set
pause.
once Sarah's done with
Oh,
the
okay,
pack.
okay, I'll finish.
But there are a lot of fantastic lightning and ice support cards, and one of the chief among them is we'll call him an honorary Turk today. This
Yes,
Al
he could be
Cid
honorary
card.
Turk.
He's an agent, and I think the Turks are. Oh no, they're members of the Turks. They're not agents. Agent of the Turks. But Al Cid is an honorary Turk. He is an incredible lightning ice card. If you
Oh,
a
my bad, my
tiny
bad.
bit so that you can see that he is lightning and ice. He allows you to play a lightning or ice card from your hand for free when you play him. So he is a very, very good support card for that strategy. And again, Reno, Rude, and I think Sung from the starter deck are all fantastic too. So it is.
And then, yep. And then you got Rufus,
And yeah,
the big
Rufus.
dog. I mean, it
Yeah.
just snowballs with Al Cid. Al Cid is one of my favorite cards, but he's kind of come and gone, right?
Yeah.
Like when he was originally introduced in Opus 14, I think that was the set we also got the Ice Lightning Zeromus hero. And so
Yeah.
they kind of immediately went together and started doing some things. And then Ice Lightning builds, of which, since I can't run Mono Lightning, Ice Lightning is kind of my de facto favorite right now. He kind of started coming out of those builds
Yeah.
because there were better cards, arguably, for the strategy. And now he's kind of maybe poking his head back in, saying, "Hey, let me hang out with the Turks a little bit. Just put me at
Yeah.
least as a one of. Let me see what happens.
Yeah.
Let me see what happens."
He'll come in as like a contractor.
Opus 2 Al Cid the
Opus-
goat. Yes.
Opus 2
Al
Al
Cid
Cid.
Onion Knight FTW.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when I started playing the game, that was one of the combos that I had really, really leaned into. Mike,
Yeah.
I know you'd mentioned this earlier, but I was also a mono lightning aficionado when
I
first
knew there
started
was a
playing the
reason I
game.
liked you.
So I played a lot of nights. I played. So when I started playing, I believe it was late 2018 or 2019, and I got in around Opus 5. So I was playing that combo with the Al Cid and Onion Knight. I was playing the Opus 5 Ramza that got cheaper as you played more forwards. I was super into the mono lightning idea, and then I don't know, the brewitis took over, and I just started doing everything that I possibly could. I'm the kind of TCG player where I will just make a ton of decks because I feel like it. Some of them are not really what I would consider competitive quality, but I just like making a lot of themed decks and then hitting them against each other. So I got a little off the rails when I started playing FFTCG, and I made 10 or 11 decks right off the bat or something like that. I've since narrowed it down a little bit, but I've also noticed a general rise in power. So everything is a lot of fun to play, whereas before I was just sticking characters I liked together.
Yeah, I mean that's weird that's when you got in. So I've been buying Opus cards since Opus 1. Pre-ordered them, and then we had the delay and all that stuff. But I just, as a Square Enix person, I saw somebody in chat say, yeah, being a Square Enix fan is basically just like which piece of merch is going to bankrupt me this week. Yeah. So I was just buying cards to have one regular and one foil of every card in a set, and they immediately went from box to binder and got put away. And so I did that from Opus 1 through Opus 5. And my son Torchwick, who I think is in the stream, much love you. We were looking, just flipping through YouTube, well, let's find a game though to buy and learn how to play or whatever. And he said, "Oh, look at that full art Enkidu."
Is that what he said?
Goes perfectly with our full art Gilgamesh, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Partners in
we got
crime.
them
There you
both.
go.
And then Shantoto is right underneath.
And the Shantoto underneath it, really sealing the deal.
So
Incredible
we
pair
were
of art.
like looking for a game to play, and he's like, "Dad, you have a huge box of all those extra cards. Let's just learn how to play the Final Fantasy game." And we're like, "Okay, fine. We'll learn another card game, whatever." And so we start building decks that night and start playing. 2 weeks later, we're at a local qualifier. We have no right being at a local qualifier. No right to be at this local qualifier. I mean, we know how to play. We come from other games, and so we
Yeah.
get the basic idea. But stack interactions, responses, and stuff. We are not there yet, but we're like, yeah, let's drive to Maryland and go to a local qualifier. We've been playing for 14 days. We'll totally wreck the joint. No, we got absolutely demolished, right? But that's how long when I started playing was right around the same time, and so I fell in just like you. Let me start with characters I like
Yeah.
and build a deck around that. And then you start learning, okay, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. How could I make this little small portion of my character deck work? And it's just so much fun doing this stuff. I know, by the way, that there are people that don't like that Final Fantasy 11 art because it's like screenshot art, and I get it. I totally get it. Like, there's so much fantastic art in the set, and then you get a 11 card that's a screenshot. But I will tell you all, I will die on this hill. I love that art. I love that stupid screenshot art. There's just so much nostalgia for me in FF11 to see that art on cards. So you can hate it all you want, but they print it for me, and I'm fine with that.
I'm actually partial to some of it too. Um, Actually, we got the blue mage in this set. It's one of the commons in this set, and I'm a huge blue mage stan. So when I saw the blue mage art, I was like, oh, maybe I could make something with this. Like, I think it's time. Maybe I could sit down and just brew something with blue mages.
All right, I'm happy that there are some in chat that their memories of FF11 are all pixelated, so the cards make sense to them too.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think it's like a wonderful. One thing is like it's a wonderful trip down memory lane. For any newcomers, I think one of the things that surprised me the most is if you're a fan of Final Fantasy series in general, you'll notice how much care is given to the flavor of a lot of these cards. A lot of these
Yeah.
cards do what the characters are like specializing in. Or a lot of the cards will do something similar to what the character is known for doing, which is I think one of the absolute coolest things about the FFTCG. For example, I think this is like probably the easiest example to make is that Yuna as a character in FFTCG revolves around either cleaning stuff out of the break zone, as in the sending, or she interacts very heavily with summons because that is her job.
Yeah.
And I think there are a ton of cards like that in every set. I think that's fantastic. That is why I think it's fantastic and easy to find a starting point of a character or characters that you really like in this game, because that's how I recommend a lot of my, like when I've tried to get my friends to play the game or I've gotten my friends interested. Usually what I do is I tell them, pick a game that you like, pick an FF game that you think is like your favorite, and we will talk about a deck for that game. Most of the time, you will at least get a few characters from that game in a deck, and the deck is like more than playable, synergizes well because a lot of the time the games within each category they synergize together very well. And yeah, I just think that's like a fantastic thing about this game if you're already a Final Fantasy fan. And if you're not an FF fan just right out the gates, the game is incredibly mechanically sound and a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, I mean that's
the first.
how I feel too.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh
Sarah.
no, I was just gonna say that's how I am. Like I want a World of Final Fantasy deck because I know there's so many Worlds of Final Fantasy cards, and I feel like that'd be a fun deck to have.
Mm-hmm.
It absolutely is. There was a time too when that was
Yeah.
a competitive monster for a little while.
Yep.
Was with the World of Final Fantasy deck, right after the Haste Giving Rain was printed. The first time I noticed exactly what you're talking about, Angelo, was and just kind of like the flavor of cards. And when you think back to playing those games, the first time I really noticed that was when you start getting card, and I'm not spoilers here, so I won't go into spoilers, right? Card name A and card name B cannot be on the field at the same time.
Yeah.
That was the first time I really started noticing some of that smaller flavor of the actual games in the cards, where you think back and you're like, ah, that makes sense, because in that game A was B, but they were disguised, that type
Yeah.
of stuff. It's subtle, but it's, for Final Fantasy fans, it's absolutely killer when you read somebody's special ability and you're like, I know exactly why they do that way.
Yep. It is one of the things that I like the most about this game, and why it's kind of made a lifer out of me.
Yeah.
I
I
think
have
we're
one pack left
really done,
after
right?
this one. I don't think we'll have time to open the other booster or the other display, which is fine.
This has flown by, honestly. I mean, like, we've seen. Oh, there's that blue mage that I was talking about.
Oh yeah, right. This is the blue mage. There you go. I was like, will I see it again?
Yeah, I mean, fantastic screenshot. Whoever did this, excellent work. I appreciate it.
Big fan.
Ooh,
Oh, very nice. A Dorgan. There was a Guido earlier. I don't think it was foil, but it was just one of the rares, which, I don't know. There's the Eden that we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Oh, that sealed a win for me this past weekend. I could not play 8, so category 8, so I had to hard cast that for 8 to get 2 things out of the way, and then Uri'd in the limit break card, grabbed Chelenka, had the FFCC backups, a character count to give Yuri haste, and swung for points 4, 5, and 6. It was disgusting. It was a 13 CP win. I was like, all right, that worked. Worked.
This Eden is, like, I was hoping that we would see one in the box, because it is a perfect little capstone for a lot of the FF8 support that we've got.
Yep.
It gets cheaper for having Final Fantasy VIII characters in play, and it is a massive damage effect that will almost certainly take 2 forwards off the field. We are down to our last.
Yeah, I mean, the
This is the
damage
last
can't be
one.
reduced, so you really don't have an answer if you can't cancel the summon, basically.
Yep.
Or make the forwards unbreakable with something like a Mist Dragon or whatever, or the new Carbuncle in Hidden Hope.
Oh, that's right. We've seen a handful of those.
Yeah, we have. I could dig back through, but there are a ton of carbuncles. But yes, this is our
It's our
last pack.
Fingers crossed.
Will we
Everybody,
get the Sephiroth?
Send us your energy.
Will my streamer luck run out?
So, in case you were wondering what Sarah's doing, by the way, the way that thank you. Thank you for putting up the Sephiroth card. The thing that Sarah's doing here with the pack is based on how the packs are formatted. Basically, you'll have, I believe...
I can show. I have other packs that I can show. They're
Oh,
older
perfect,
sets,
okay.
but I'll show you guys what I'm doing.
But she is moving the rare cards to the back so that we can get a dramatic effect reveal towards the end of the pack. Normally, the rares are sort of packed in the middle of the cards. So you'll have some uncommon cards at the back. Those are our rarity. And then your hero card and your foil are towards the end.
Not a Sephiroth.
No, but that is one of the legacy cards.
Legacy!
We got a
that is
legacy
included
card.
in the set.
Woohoo!
So that is one of 3 kinds of legacy cards, and that is Chaos. That is a fantastic art on that card. We have a beautiful full art version of that Chaos for us now.
That's
a
another
pretty
way,
good
by
one
the
to
way,
end on.
for you to, if you're getting into the game, there are some legends that maybe are a little harder to get, and the team at Square and Hobby Japan have started this kind of legacy reprinting program where 3 legends from previous sets that generally are more common in some meta decks get a full art reprint. And yeah, they're a little rarer to get in the boxes, but it is yet another option for some of those more staple or more played legends to get back into circulation for newer players, which is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Chaos,
Yeah.
That's a great way to end that pack.
That is
open.
great.
Yeah, fantastic little capstone here.
But here,
So,
I'll show you
yeah,
guys.
we'll do a little demo just to explain, just to show what Sarah has been up to with the card opening. Someone in chat is asking whether or not, they're lamenting that there are no LGS's local game stores around to sell them cards. But if you are interested in collecting, this right here is a fantastic,
Here, I'll move this out of the way.
fantastic choice for you to start with. This is the Final Fantasy TCG Anniversary Collection 2024. We talked about this a little bit more at the beginning of stream, but it is filled with some reprints of some classic, very powerful cards, as well as a pre-constructed deck for you to just play right out of the box. And those are available on the Square Enix store.
Yeah, you can buy this one on our store.
That one is still available on the store. Last I checked yesterday. So,
yeah.
If you are interested, at the very least, in getting something started, we also offer booster displays and some starter decks on the Square Enix store as well. So.
Yeah, we don't have the newer ones up just yet, since we, those usually go to your local game stores, but we do have some of the older ones as well. But like Angela was saying, we've got this. We've got a lot of the starters as well, too.
Someone's asking about anima, so we're going to show this off real quick. This is part of a cycle of summons, actually. Cycle referring to the summons that all sort of have the same mechanic. I'm going to take this off of the camera because we have it up on screen. But basically, there is a group of summons in this set that check to see whether or not the summon has been cast only by backups. And if it has, then you draw a card off. So there's a variety of different effects. I believe there's Anima, Alexander, Ramu. I forget what other cards are part of this cycle, but there's a decent group of summons here that all do sort of the same thing with the backup checks, which is a very interesting little design space for these new summons.
Yeah. So real quick, just to show you guys what I've been doing when we were opening cards. So this is what the pack looks like when you first open it. So we'll just skip ahead to where the foil is. But normally the foil and this would be my last two cards. But with the pack, you still have these 3 cards left at the end. So what I've been doing was I was moving those to the front. So these are the first 3 cards we see. And that way, when we were ending, you'd have your foil and then hopefully a legendary. Gives it more of that oomph, if you will.
So for the sake
That's
of...
what we call stream panache, right
there. Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, for the sake of dramatizing card openings on stream, right? We move the rares to the front and then go from there. I think we've got a lot done today. We got a lot to talk about today.
What was your favorite card that I pulled today?
My favorite?
Go ahead, Mike.
Mine's easy.
Yeah,
full art
let
Gilgamesh, and then following it up with the full art Enkidu. That's it for me. I don't care how playable or not playable anything is. That was my favorite sequence of pulls right there.
These two.
Fantastic
look
art.
at that.
These are both by the same artist as well, so there's some consistency in the art style. The camera
does not like
the
me.
camera
There
just
we
simply
go.
chat catch the beauty of these two cards.
Oh, great. Chat has just turned into a bunch of Jack Garlands. Chaos, 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 chaos.
You're a set late. Actually, Chaos.
Chaos? Is that your favorite?
No.
But here's Chaos.
But I will talk about my favorite a little bit because I like her so much. Actually, it's a tie. I really like Fire nowadays, so it's a toss-up between either Montleonis, who is like one of my... Actually... low-key, one of my favorite Final Fantasy protagonists after watching a lot of the Brave Exvius stuff, and Selphie from Final Fantasy VIII. Like I said earlier, I think this Selphie might be like the best Selphie printed currently. She's a fantastic addition to an FF8 deck, and I think she really starts to bring the strategy into the forefront in a way that I think a lot of FF8 decks just weren't quite getting across the finish line before. So. The additional buff and haste and brave is just monumental for that card. So
it's scary.
Those are big for me. Yep. I think that's
yeah.
We've got a lot done. We've got cards scattered all over the table. I know this is like
you can kind of see these are the ones that we kept to the side, and then I guess
I'm like I know Mike is over there like tensing up just a little bit how we have all the cards laid out.
And I have this bad boy right here.
Just a tiny bit.
You know me a little too well already.
There's no
he was showing off his wonderfully packed and graded cards earlier before the stream.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, I think this is definitely a recipe for chaos.
Yeah,
Chaos.
stuff like these guys.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, those right there. Those are a couple of our previous feature cards. Um, so we've started doing this thing. I believe Yuffie was the first one, right?
Yep.
We started doing this feature signature card per set, where one of these is sort of a standout card with somebody's signature on it. So we have
This is the
Yuffie
Sephiroth
and
we were
Cloud.
after.
Yeah, we were looking for the Sephiroth. Didn't see it today. Maybe it's in this other box that we didn't touch.
Yeah, maybe.
But
Gotcha.
yeah, that's those were from Opus 18 and Opus 19, which are a little ways back now. But yeah, this is a very fun stream. Thank you so much for having me on. This was a fantastic time.
Thank you both for joining
Glad
me.
to sit around and
thank you.
nerd out
Pleasure.
about a game that I've been playing for what is it, like 5 years at this point? Yeah, especially with community members. It's just something I don't really get to interact with a whole ton.
I love opening cards, so any chance I get to just listen to, how the game mechanics are, listen to people geek out, nerd out over like how awesome everything is, and I just get to open packs, it's a great time for me.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Glad to be here.
All right, Mike, before we finish off here, tell the lovely people where they can find you.
Oh, very kind. First off, thank you so much for having me. I hope to do this again sometime. It's been a blast. Angelo, Sarah, all of you guys behind the scenes don't get enough credit. You hear all the complaints, but you very rarely get the thanks. So on behalf of everybody in chat and the community, thank you for everything you do. It is appreciated. It is seen, and we do love you for it. And I hope to come and hang out again. And that goes to everybody, not just you two behind the scenes. But you can check me out over on readycheckradio.com. That's a personal channel where I do a number of podcasts for fun, and we do Final Fantasy trading card game streams from there. We also do learn to plays and weekly locals. So if you want more information on just hanging out with some people and chatting, new players are always welcome there. Even if we're having a constructed tournament, we will sit there and rip boxes and chat and play games and chat. It doesn't matter. If you want to help me pay my bills, though, go to MMOBomb.com. Been over there for over a decade. We cover a ton of games in the multiplayer space, but obviously for this audience, yes, I do occasionally find ways to write about Final Fantasy TCG on there anyway, just because I want to. But then things like Final Fantasy 14, Final Fantasy 11, all kinds of Square Enix properties. You can find news and podcasts and first look videos and fun stuff over there. That one pays the bills. So go there first and click follow. I'd appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Angelo. I appreciate you both for being here, helping me open packs, talking about Limit Break, the new set, everything that we talked about, the new competitive season as well. But yeah, I think we'll end it here. But thank you guys. Much appreciated. Yeah. And thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you guys next time, hopefully for Hidden Trials.
Hidden Trials, yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll catch you guys around.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.